Good evening. We have a sacred opportunity this evening to enter with all our being a layer of reality which we ordinarily do not get in touch with. It is never just one more satsang. I have given, technically speaking, this kind of evenings thousands of times. It's always either, to me, always either the last satsang or the first satsang, which is basically the same. The same because the last is probably the last words I would like to say before I die. The last energy I would like to immerse in before I close my eyes. And the first, because what we touch is never something that we can take for granted. Say, yes, I know this. Yes, I experienced that. Yes, I had some meditation like this. It's not comparable. Enlightenment is not something that you were or you experienced. It absolutely has no imprint, no accumulation. So, welcome to your first satsang, which I also say to myself right now. And it's never about just words. The way we speak to each other this evening is very different from the way people speak to each other. We speak in a language of feeling, but not even the ordinary type of feeling. Please don't try to understand, just try to feel. Still, I'm going to talk. Today we're going to talk about emptiness. And what it is really. Very often we hear about emptying ourselves in meditation, silencing ourselves, making ourselves close to a state of nothing. And this, of course, could bring a lot of fear and a lot of disorientation. The fear, it seems like we are expected to somehow be in a state of no ground, no anchor, nothing. But today we'll try to get in touch with this nothing or emptiness in a very different way. Because sometimes in satsang, in meditation, surely in Buddhism, we start getting the feeling that truth is emptiness, truth is nothingness, some kind of a void. This is surely not so tempting, right? I mean, someone comes and tells you, well, let's make a bargain. You will give everything, I will give you in return nothing. And that should be bliss. You need to be really out of your mind to agree to this kind of bargain. But really, truth has, in actuality, nothing to do with emptiness. What we think is emptiness is actually fullness. And I want to, this evening, to change our understanding very deeply about this, because this term emptiness could confuse us completely. When I say fullness, I mean everything. Everything. Take everything at once. Take the whole cosmos, the whole infinity of the cosmos, the whole galaxies. Beyond that, the nothing, the everything, all the animals, all the people, all the space, and the source from which they all came. Take the whole of that, encapsulate it in one tiny drop, now try to imagine that. Try to feel that, this everything, this fullness, overflow. It's actually so much, it's such a richness that when we think that we are going to let go of everything and just enter the nothing, we don't realize that letting go is more like a transition phase. It's like a tunnel through which we move. We go through the tunnel. For that, we need to let go of everything, yes, to experience, to agree to be nothing, to agree to silence, agree, accept this darkness. But then, what awaits is not at all a nothing. If anything, it is much more than we can handle. There's no way that we could take in this richness. So, truth is richness. It's not emptiness. It might sound obvious or not, but try to think for a moment how we always talk about spirituality, especially the spirituality of the past. It was always about renunciation, right? You know what renunciation is? It's about, renunciation is letting go of everything, letting go of the world, being a monk, being without nothing, being a sadhu, without possessions. And so in our mind, and also in our psyche, spirituality, deep spirituality is associated with basically poverty. Like we have, not only that we have very little, we have nothing. So it's all about to renounce, to let go. And be without possessions. I want to show you this evening that basically the nothing or the emptiness, they belong to the ego. If there is anything in us, if there is anything in reality that is poor and empty and suffers from not having possessions and that needs to renounce, is the ego, is the small self. And then, to negotiate and to say, oh, for truth, I need to let go of everything is almost hilarious. There is one story in Autobiography of a Yogi that Yogananda wrote. This is such a thrilling moment. He describes some kind of saint who, I think he said all his life, he said that the higher will, that God told him to sit in his room and never leave it. He never left his house. Just stayed confined in between these four walls. Imagine that. And just sat there. And if I'm not, he used to be very rich and like a wealthy man with high status, and there he sat, and one day one of the students said in admiration, "It's unbelievable how you left behind all the richness and all your status, and just to be in such a amazing state of renunciation." And this saint looked at him and he said, no, you are getting it wrong. It's the other way around. I actually let go of poverty for the sake of a kingdom full of bliss and richness. And not only that I didn't renounce, the ones who are the real renunciates are the people of this world. This is what he said. It's such a perception. Would you be able to think of all the people in the world as renunciates? As monks who deprive themselves of richness? Who decided to let go of the most precious treasure? Who made themselves so poor out of their own free will? To change this direction and to think, oh, these are the renunciates, is to begin to understand that emptiness is not about letting go. Not at all. It's about for the first time, entering richness, entering a contact with a treasure so overwhelming that we cannot even contain. So if we could, as a starting point, decide together to stop calling it emptiness and to start calling it fullness, that could be the right direction. Then it is more like, I want to let go of my emptiness. I want to let go of my nothingness. And to enter a fullness. Finally. Now if you take a walk in a forest and you are really attentive and really receptive, you are realizing so quickly that the universe is so full, the moment is so heavily charged, so intense, so massive. It's full of tremendous beauty that is not necessarily in the details, though it is often reflected in details, in the small bird, in astonishing lake, in a heavenly sunset. It is there, you get hints. You get reflections. But the more you become silent, the more you tune in to the real life, not to the so-called life of our thinking, where we are trying to create life, to produce life all the time. You suddenly realize that this moment is so overflowing, so magnificently full. That how could you call it emptiness? What does that even mean? It is just so full that you cannot say that it is something, you see? Because it is complete. It is one thing. It is one state, one energy, one consciousness. When you silence your being, it is not to enter emptiness, but it is to enable fullness, to allow it to finally be seen. The silence that only makes your consciousness and being receptive. It is in the very nature of our ego to forever remain poor. and to lock itself in poverty and emptiness. When we are dominated by the ego as will, wanting, desire, we feel ourselves actually very empty. And it only intensifies how empty we are, because we want, you know that the word want in English means lack, absence. Want is not, yes, if I say I want something, it means that I lack. I'm in a state of lack. It's not at all like will, that sounds almost impressive, right? My will. When I say I want, is actually I don't have. I want to feel alive doesn't mean I want to be more alive. It means I don't have life. I don't have this connection. So the more we want, the less we feel, the less we are in touch with fullness. The poorer we feel. Right? Try to get in touch directly with a moment in which you want something. How everything narrows down. Your whole being becomes like, I don't know, I need love. I want to be loved. Isn't it amazing that the emperors of the universe won't feel that they lack something? So, there is a narrowing down, and then the feeling of hunger and thirst grow. We say to ourselves, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it, I need to have it, I must have it. And the more we say that, and the more we try, the poorer we feel. And we know this feeling, right? The feeling of the emptiness of the heart, when there's something that is missing, and the hollow sensation of the upper belly, what we call the solar plexus chakra. It's this feeling of being hollow, of needing to be filled. Really, our ego is like the poorest thing in the whole universe. Out of choice, out of will, and out of ignorance, it becomes so narrow that it is out of touch with the fullness. With all this blessing that keeps pouring down, it's just like when you say, oh, I want to know that I am loved by the divine. And even one drop of this love flowing towards you, you will very quickly say, okay, I got it, enough. This thing cannot contain that love. When we want, we feel a lack. When we let go of want and become receptive, we begin to get in touch with fullness. It is everywhere. It is the very vibration of life, that it is full, that it is loaded. I don't know if you know in meditation, when you enter silence, real silence, it's never like absence, right? It is full of vibration, it is juicy, it's like a thick energy that permeates everything and that suddenly you become conscious of. So it's only if we begin to feel in meditation that sitting just on wherever we are, being wherever we are without any achievements, without any future, without anything completed, accomplished in our life, and we feel the richest. We feel so much richer than all those billionaires and those famous people and those who try so hard to become something, to become a somebody. And the more they try, the greater this hole inside. The more we understand that we didn't trade this for nothing, you see? It wasn't like a bargain, everything for nothing. It was nothing for everything. You only let go of nothing. Then finally your meditation is proud and happy. It is a joyous thing to let go, because you realize that you were only missing the whole universe. Being content with some few thoughts that replaced life. So we always think of spirituality as if we are going to let go of the joys of life and all the wonderful pleasures and so on and so on. And it all seems like leaving the world behind. Do we understand? Really? We are not leaving the world behind. We were never aware of the world. We are becoming aware of it. We are becoming conscious of it. And because you become conscious of it, you let go. Suddenly you say, what are pleasures? What our choice? It's like, I'm so rich. And the body itself becomes pregnant, becomes so full that the body itself rejects pleasures, you see? It's not that the body says, hey, what? I don't want anything. Leave me alone. I'm having fun with the cosmos. So the reason a celibate, a monk, a renunciate wants nothing is because they have everything. It's not some kind of a poor state, nearly so close to death, as if we have let go of everything and now it's as if we have squeezed ourselves to the corner of the universe. This is where our needs begin to dissolve. You see, they don't dissolve because we let go of them. Nobody can let go of needs. What will let go of needs? The ego? Can I say, I sit here and I say, okay, I let go of the need to be loved. Does it work? How can it work? It cannot work. You cannot let go of the need to be loved or the need for some kind of addiction. You cannot let go. It's just when there is a sense of fullness that begins to nourish you so very differently that something falls off and you just watch it. You don't let go because you want to be empty. You let go because you became full. Do you see? I don't know if sometimes you were so happy that you didn't feel like eating. Sometimes this could happen when we feel so energetic, so vibrant, so excited, and then we say we don't care. Sometimes it happens when we fall in love, for example. That we feel that we are not interested in food because our excitement overflows. So it is because we are full with something else that we don't need to feel the usual fullness of food. So this is a very different reason why to let go of wanting. It's only because you realize that you are limiting yourself. It's like the whole life is knocking on your door and you refuse it. You say, no, 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 I want only one thing. I don't want everything. If by given this one thing we would have been satisfied, then perfect. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like this. Because ego is emptiness by nature. Ego cannot have anything. It is a hungry spirit. The sex drive is never satisfied, right? It's not like we say, oh, only one thing, only one time, and that's it. I will be fully satisfied. It just needs to be amazing and then that's it. No. It relaxes and then it refuels itself. It's completely the same with wanting to be loved. Somebody tells you, I love you. And you say, oh, really? And you feel marvelous for a moment, but then the emptiness returns. Because it is inherent. It cannot be filled. So stop looking for emptiness in meditation. When you empty yourself, what you empty is that narrow focus. This limitation that makes you think that if you only follow through this trail of thought, just follow it through all the way, it leads to happiness. You see? You trust it. It tells you, here, come with me. You are reaching fullness, 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 fullness. And the only question is how long we are going to be fooled by this trail of thought. Or we just once and for all look at it and say, no, you lead to nowhere, you lead to emptiness. You are the emptiness I should dread. You see? So often people raise their hands and they say, the emptiness scares me, what should I do? How could I let go and enter the emptiness? And I don't understand. How can you be now in the emptiness? How come we don't fear that? This state, as long as we believe the thought, we feel hungry. We feel empty. So try it for a second, for a moment. See this whole great promise. Of the future and how it's going to finally fill you, finally lead you to fullness. And when you let go, sometimes they say in life you're not meant to just take or to get, you need to give. And we keep forgetting something in the middle. Not to take or to give, but to receive. And receiving learning to receive is an astonishing state, an astonishing quality. And this means that you are making yourself empty just so that this will flow and enter, that there will be such a tremendous sensitivity and you pick so much beauty, so much of the richness of life. Only then you realize that desire is a state of deprivation. That every tiny bird that you see has everything in it. That any leaf holds the entire universe in it. And that every moment is the final achievement. You could never achieve more. That's the beauty of sensitivity. When you're not sensitive, you need pleasure to feel strongly enough. But when you're sensitive, every breeze is an orgasm. Every moment is an explosion. So what do you want to be? Poor renunciates? Or the whole cosmos? And this is also the first question that I will read before discussing. So, it's without a name, so I will just read it. As many other people, I'm currently in the situation of many shifts and changes. The last month have been full of letting go. I lost basically everything one person can lose, not on a material level, but regarding relationships and beloved ones. After many years of yoga, meditation, family constellation, quantum healing, working with Byron Katie and Brandon Bayes, as well as ancient healing techniques and many others, I came to the following realization. Something inside of me, ego, mind games, intuition, I don't know, actually seems to be attached to all of my pain and suffering. I know that the traumas of my childhood have been necessary for my path in this life, but that I could let them rest in peace now as they seem to have served their purpose. There is nothing more in this life that I would want more than this healing of the past to take place. And at the same time, something is obviously afraid of letting go. It's almost like that the traumas are the last things that remain real, or at least giving me some kind of identification. As insane as it sounds to me on the intellectual level, my body and other parts of me refuse to give up this attachment to the suffering. Isn't that exactly a natural continuation? So we say, I work in trauma work. I do everything that the great teachers tell me to do. I go to do this technique, that technique, and then technically I'm meant to let go of the past. And basically no technique can make me let go of the past. Even the best technique ever developed in the history cannot make me do that. It can be convincing, it can be enlightening, you can enter real forgiveness and so on, but if you don't want to let go, the technique is meaningless. And you know, it's also the other way around. When you are willing to let go, the technique is also meaningless. Basically, techniques are only there to embrace us and to help us gain the energy and maturation process until we reach the point in which we are finally agreeing to let go. This is the whole process. It's just like letting go of addiction. Can you let go of addiction? Of course. If you let go of it, right? Then it's like that. There is no binding power. The addiction truly has no power. But if you need this addiction, if you need it to even some degree, you will hold on to it. Even if you go through excellent techniques and cry and laugh and see and understand and so on and so on, you will return home and you will take a look at your object of addiction and say, I'm not convinced yet. A little more. A little more. I will go to one more technique because probably this technique is not good enough. It's not strong enough. I didn't see it fully. So nothing can make us let go of the past. And again, who can let go of the past? What in us can let go of the past? This thing that we are, the self, is made of the past. Why would it let go of the past? What does it mean even that the ego would say, okay, I'm letting go of the story? Aha, the story is letting go of the story. Very interesting. That's a story. So then the story tries to let go of the story and does everything it can to let go of the story. And this becomes another part of its story. You see? Just another chapter. Then I wanted to let go and I wanted to be free and so on and so on. Any realized being knows that they never got enlightened, you see? That the self that was seeking it was that thing that came to an end. So you cannot let go of the past. Impossible. There's only if there is an opening to something else. Our system is not stupid. It doesn't agree to let go of something and then remain with nothing. It doesn't work like this, you see? It's just like with addiction. You can't let go of addiction and then stay with nothing. Something better needs to be there. Something more fulfilling, greater, deeper, more nourishing needs to enter your life. And as soon as there is something greater, then you look at the other thing like as if it were a toy. You see? You just look at it and say, what is that? This was my fulfillment? So, instead of letting go, focusing so much on letting go, I would recommend an encounter with fullness. Focusing so much on needing to let go, wanting to let go, doing this technique, that technique to let go, there is a reason why there is no letting go. And it is that there is a hunger at the base, at the core of the soul. As long as this hole is not filled, then there will always be this past filling you instead. Instead, begin to invite the blessing of the cosmos, the blessing of life. Open up to it. Agree to receive it. Contact the now. You have done enough. It's not about one more technique, and it's not about more process. It's about letting go of the letting go. The more we deepen in our meditation, and begin to feel beauty and nowness and completeness, this very nowness, it just rejects the past. It doesn't need it. It has something better to offer the system. It has something better to offer the mind, the body, the emotional system. It's just like no real celibate, and I'm talking about real celibate, lets go of sexuality because sexuality is bad. You see? It's only if you are given in exchange something much better than sexuality. Then you become so full, so ecstatic, that then you don't need the lesser form of experience, and that's it. But for that we need to open up. To take the risk of dropping this narrowing down and opening up. Let's see what questions you have. Or sharing. Yes, please.
I was wondering if you could say something more about receiving. We're talking about taking, and in the middle receiving. What was the last?
Giving.
Giving, yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So I was thinking, for instance, if I'm looking at the sunset.
Yes.
And I want to really get it in, like to consume it in a way, or to behold it. It's like my senses, they harden up and I cannot really get into it. But if I would relax and try to receive it, it would more move towards me, like come to me in a way. So I was wondering, is it in a way that we can never really take something and only receive? Or how is that? Are things always moving towards us and we can never move towards something? Or how would you define receiving then?
So the question, I will repeat it for technical reasons. The question is, basically whether you are talking about a state in which you are sitting in front or standing in front of a sunset, right?
Any object of desire, yes.
Anything. It's good to desire a sunset. You are in a good shape.
Took a harmless example.
Yes. Oh, sunset, I desire you. Yes. So there is. You say that when there is too much wanting, then there is a hardening of your being, and then when there is a letting go or receiving, then it can flow. And then the question is, if it's always like that, right? That we only, in a way, can get anything just like that, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Ask yourself not this question. Ask yourself the opposite question. What do you get when you want? What do you get when you desire? Try to see what happens then. And this is my question to you.
You're asking?
Yes.
It's like when I see something that I would desire, it feels like I feel strong because I feel able to connect to something. Or it's like I can go towards something,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me feel connected, but also disconnected. So it makes me feel strong, in a way.
And when you get it? Answer honestly. It's not like I'm trying to. I'm interested.
I'm wondering if I'm even getting it. It's when I get it, I want something else mostly, or more of it. It's there isn't really a getting.
Yes, of course not. There is no getting. Yes, there can be a momentary release, a feeling of something that is satisfying, but there is no getting in the sense of real accumulation. You see, you cannot really. It's like, let's say, I don't know, you're getting something, and then you think, oh my God, I got it. Oh my God, I have it. Oh my God, it's mine. Oh my God, it's mine. Oh my God, it's mine. But after some time, it means nothing. It becomes empty, and the ego returns to reveal its real face. Nothingness. You see, emptiness. The ego. There is. I don't know if you know in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. There is when you die. When you die, just know that there are, I think, if I recall, 6 realms that you are going to, that you might enter and that you need to avoid, because the Tibetan Book of the Dead is like an instruction. It tells you how to keep on following the light, no matter what. So one of the realms is my favorite because it's funny. It is called the realm of the hungry ghosts. The hungry ghosts, they are like ghosts, obviously, and they have plenty of food, plenty, endless, and they keep on eating all the time, but their belly is open. So whatever they eat, it keeps coming out. So then they eat even more, and then it comes out. It's just so basically it's like a hell, a Buddhist hell, okay? that you eat and eat and eat, and for eternity, because you always feel hungry. This is the ego. The ego is the realm of hungry ghosts. It's just the more it eats, the emptier it gets. Because this is its inherent condition. It is hunger. And when you understand that it is hunger, it is not even hungry. It is this sense in our thinking. It's a certain stream that keeps fooling our mind since the beginning of time. Every time a person comes into being, then feels this stream and says, hey, yeah, and then that's it. Another person becomes a person. So when you understand that there can be a momentary relief, it's not like there is no getting from taking. It just never lasts. And the irony, and this is quite a joke of God or the cosmos or whatever you may call it, the irony is that the reality tells you you can only get something lasting when you let go of getting anything, you see? When you shift to the state of complete receptivity, you are suddenly so flooded that then you don't look at the sunset, you see? Because none of us looks at sunsets. We look at sunsets only because we are in this state of narrow focus. In reality, we are the sunset. You are the sunset. You are its colors, its brightness, its richness. You are everything you see. This is the source of richness, because when you are receptive, you discover that you are everything. And to be all the birds of the world, all the clouds of the world, all the galaxies of the world, and even all the billionaires of the world, then why would you need anything, since you have it all, you see? Since you are it all. But for that we need a deep sensitivity and receptivity, so much that we really innocently looking, and then we realize that we are that the sense of distance between us and things is just an illusion of desire. Desire creates this illusion. Yes.
So when you are fulfilled, what would you choose as a human being?
When you are fulfilled?
What would you choose as a human being? Because you have eyes, you have a body. Would you choose to see the sunset? Maybe you don't need it, but you can choose because you have eyes, or you can choose sexuality because just you can touch. And yeah. Would you choose? Still?
It's an interesting question. Do you choose if when you are When there is fullness, right? Is the question?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. First of all, there is no need to worry about this after thing, you see? When we ask, what would you do when there is fullness? Then, because when there is fullness, you don't worry about what would you do. Yeah, it's just, the next step just shows itself constantly. It's like, because, you see, this is how much we don't trust the fullness of the moment, that we don't understand that the future is embedded in it. The future is here. It's not there. The future is the outcome of the moment, but it unfolds from it and remains in it. So then we don't need to ask this question. There is a choice just as there is no choice. You see, it's the same, basically. Do I choose now to answer you? Did I choose to make this satsang? Or did I just feel myself as a tree with many leaves and so many fruits that satsang just came out of it, you see, as part of this. It just overflows, and then it channels itself. It channels itself through love. It channels itself through grace, through creativity, through friendship also. But you don't feel that you are moving towards the future, you see? Because the question of choice is always this question of, because what is behind it? It's not like we're really philosophically troubled by it. It doesn't matter. You know, this endless philosophical question, do we choose or do we not choose? Is there a free will? Nobody could ever answer this question, because it's a matter of perspective. So what is behind this question? You're
asking. Yeah, I think it's a kind of imagination of liberation.
Imagination of liberation?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
There's a thought that if you're liberated, if you're free, that you can then choose. That then there's a choice. If I'm not free, I have no choice. No.
That if you are free, you can choose.
Or in the other way around, if I'm not free, I can't choose because I have to follow my psychological patterns.
I see what you're saying. You're saying because I'm motivated, when I'm not free, I'm driven by lack, right? So then my lack drives me, guides me, tells me what I need.
Yeah,
then I'm not driven by anything, right?
Yeah.
Yes, now I wouldn't worry about that. I don't see trees and volcanoes troubled by this choiceless state of theirs, right? I don't see thunderbolt in an identity crisis. Imagine, what would I choose? Would I do my thunder thing, or like not be a thunder anymore? Or what happens if I let go? It's You're finally one with life, you see, and life has drives. Life has its own motivation, but it's very different because it flows out of completeness, it flows out of the whole. You come out of the completeness in action, you see. Mostly your choice will be around giving, and it will not be a choice because you will have no choice, you see. When you are overflowing, you just can't, you don't know what to do with yourself. You see? What do you have to do? When you are this fullness, what remains on earth to do? You see? Nothing you could do would make you complete. So what would you do? What else would you do?
To share, to give.
Yes, but to share and to give, not because of a moral code, but because what would you do? Do you see? It's like all of the abundance of the cosmos is in you. What do you have to do? You see? Then there is no more the concept of giving, because this is giving is actually a concept of the ego. Because ego says there is the sunset. The ego says the sunset separate from you, and the ego says there are others separate from you. And then, you give. Or you receive. Whatever. And it's not so far away. Please don't think about it's every time when you are overflowing in meditation, just ask yourself, so is there an action possible out of this? Then you realize that even if you didn't do anything, then there is something in you that would do, you see? Because that's the way it goes. It does. Yes, please. 1, 2. Yes.
So would you say it would be right to let go of the concept of emptiness? It would be right more to think about it as in transparency. It's like more like becoming more transparent in order to reflect that fullness, rather than the concept of emptiness. Would that be more, like, the direction would be more accurate with the word of, like, with the idea of transparency?
If it's transparency, again, it is transparency, but just to make something else possible. Merging with fullness. You see this, what I'm saying, this transparency or silence or emptiness, whatever name you call it, is just your gate, you see? It's just the practice that makes us able to receive the fullness and then to become one with it. Because afterwards, then there is no more talking about transparency.
Yes, I understand.
Transparency is just like a key. You say, empty yourself, empty the self.
But then can you really tell that it's full or empty? Or does it go beyond all these concepts?
Of course, of course. I'm just saying, in our mind, emptiness is always associated with poverty, with nothing, and we fear it. We think that we are letting go, we're becoming monks, we renounce. This is what I'm saying, that is completely not the real thing, you see. Afterwards, you can call it emptiness, fullness, flowerness, cupboardness. It doesn't matter. It's just this one that cannot be compared to any other one because it's the only thing there is. When there is only one thing, then you say there is nothing. Or there is only one thing. Both are wrong, right? How can you even give a description of a state which is the only state? To have a state, you need to compare it to another state which is not the state, you see? I need to say, this is the state beyond words. Really? Why? Why is it beyond words? So words are not there? No. So this is not the state that is beyond words as opposed to the state below words, you see, or something like that. So that is why we always speak in negative terms. You see, because it's the closest, but it's not really what it is like. It's certainly not leaving the world behind. It's entering the world for the first time. Yes, please.
Yeah, you said to open to the fullness, and it's almost, we are almost not capable to hold it. It's so big, it's so full, so rich, the richness, it's almost impossible to bear that, to hold that.
Mm-hmm.
And this experience I share very much because sometimes this experience was too much, there was too much of bliss or light or energy, and the nervous system, whatever, couldn't hold it at all. So is there any preparation necessary, or what would you suggest to be able to actually receive that? Because obviously it's not so easy to just open up for that and it will be there and everything is fine, you know. I mean, I experienced big disaster actually also as well.
So you say that is there any preparation because it to receive this fullness, because it feels uncontainable.
Right, and very powerful and very big.
So there most certainly is a process of evolution or change in the nervous system to be able to conduct. You see, because it's true, we can't really hold this. One tiny drop of it, it's like homeopathy, you see. It's like the divine puts into your mouth a highly diluted homeopathic remedy of the cosmos, you see. And this highly diluted is so tremendous that it is enough for a person to be completely enlightened, you see. So then it needs to be even more diluted before, you see. It needs to be so delicate. And that is why there is meditation, and that is why there is what we call a process. That is why there is a journey at all. That is why even after awakening there can be a long time until the one's being can actually hold it to such a high degree that you can say that there is some kind of some similarity. It just invite the cosmos to enter with its own intelligence into you. And trust it. There is a tremendous intelligence that encompasses this entire encounter that between us and reality. It's not an uncontrolled thing. It is full of grace. It is full of intelligence and compassion. It is love from both directions. So whenever you enter an encounter with it, just tell the universe, please enter as you will according to my capacity, and I trust you. As long as we're not doing dangerous stuff like taking psychedelic drugs when our nervous system is anyway delicate and our process is delicate, as long as we are not taking a very unstable lifestyle or doing some very harsh spiritual practices. As long as we don't over-push it, the universe doesn't push it. It gives you exactly the amount that you can take. And when there is trust, then just don't think of it as explosions, you see. Just begin to think of it as the most delicate thing a human being can ever feel or encounter. there are two ways to think of reality. One is that it is explosive. And the other, which is just the same, that it is the most delicate thing that you could ever get in touch with. It is so delicate, so gentle, that this is why no one notices it. You see? That's the only thing. It's here. And it's all there is, but it's so gentle. So especially in your case, don't think of it as an explosion. Think of it as gentleness. The truth is gentle. And then it will meet you in your own way, you see? Any last question? Have I answered all your questions forever? Can I retire now to the Himalayas? Yeah? Is it my cue? Yes, please.
For a long time I had goals and I made plans, and I realized I wanted and I wanted and I'm confident. The question is like, can you make plans out of this fullness?
Can you make plans out of this fullness?
Like sort of finding your life purpose, for living the one thing and just to be focused on plans and to have goals because we live in this world, but without the bonding, without being so tense.
It's just like asking, can you still brush your teeth in this fullness? You see, or do you brush your teeth? Because if you feel, I'm not cynical right now. I'm really saying, because if you are in fullness, then you say, okay, so if I'm in fullness, everything is complete, so I don't brush my teeth, right? But it doesn't happen like this because there are enough intelligent parts in us that know what to do. You see? We don't need a self to even plan into the future. Planning into the future is a natural thing that a human being does. It's natural, of course. What? It's not like I'm in such a state of madness that I have no idea how to return home, right? It's like I'm so much here that then some Noga will need to come and say, hey, now I will take you, you see, this is your place, you go there. Then I say, oh, okay. I'm fully conscious, you see, because I have certain compartments that no, I need to brush my teeth, I need to plan my day, I need to play my years ahead. You see? To have a center, you need to plan a lot. I need to know exactly where I'm going to have the retreat in next summer, for example. You see? Next summer. That's a lot of moments after now, from now. So think of it like that. Completeness is something that encompasses everything, past, present, and future. There is not something that it is lacking, because if completeness couldn't do something, what would it mean? Yeah, I'm in a state of completeness. I can't plan the future. But why? You are in a state of fullness, which means that everything flows, you see? You can flow in every direction. There is no limitation. The only thing about planning the future, the only problem with planning the future is not planning the future, but thinking that happiness awaits you in that future, that completeness and fullness are there. So the real problem is the psychological future, not the future. The future is harmless. Just like also my past is harmless. Is my story terrible? Can't I tell it? No, I could even write my autobiography. Only without any psychological content, you see? I will not give it any meaning. It will not be my story. And it will not be my future. You see? My future in the sense of me, complete, then. You see? This needs to disappear. This is what we call thought, ego. Then one day you reach that future and you realize that it's still now, that you didn't move. And we have a future, psychological future, only because we don't have the sensitivity. Now we can have it. Good. Thank you.